Alrighty, folks, welcome to the Squadcast, our show covering all stuff worth talking about from the Capital Region and beyond. Today on the show, we'll be talking about the Capital Region's first public event, which took place this last weekend. Cuomo's plan to reopen the entire New York State. The Clifton Park native who was drafted to the Patriots but is being dragged for his tattoos. And the peculiar creature lurking in a Schenectady pond. Today's episode is brought to you by a very special sponsor, one that has shaped two buttons deep into what we are today. The one, the only, the Albany Times Union. Woo! Albany TU is a source when all big things happen. We know that. That's not news. They've been around for over 160 years here in the Capital Region. And after all that, you can subscribe to the Times Union for as little as $1 a week. We got a link down below. Yeah, $1 a week. You could walk around downtown Albany, scrape up some change, and afford the Times Union. It's crazy. I was shocked to see that number, but if I'm being honest, I'm a paper guy. And I'm so happy they're on board with us because this started yesterday on Sunday. And a Sunday without holding the paper and drinking a coffee is a Sunday I don't want to be a part of. So I was happy this came through. Happy, they're around and they're on board. And look at this. The first day on the job, look who appears on the front cover. None other than our own Katie Alois.
Breaking news. Wow, okay, wow. That was really
I was literally just reading. I was like, wait, that's our first topic. Oh my goodness.
The mask gave it away, wasn't it?
Look at you and your newfound fame. I'll send this to you.
I mean, seriously, you get so much value with the Times Union, so much great reporting. There's great journalists, great social media content. But to top it all off, you get Katie on the front page to kick off what looks like a drab weather week upstate. I mean, could we kick this partnership off any better than a little subtle, two buttons deep, reciprocal love?
Yeah. Little organic action at the farmers market. Yeah.
How'd it go, Katie? You had a great video. Nice job.
What's up, guys? It's Katie with Two Buttons Deep, and I'm coming at you from downtown Schenectady. Schenectady Green Market's open for business, and we're going to take a walk through.
How do you feel about it?
It's funny because I'm not the type of person that would normally feel unaware taking a selfie in public, right? I'd feel a little self-conscious, a little dorky. But when I'm in Two Buttons Deep mode, like all caution goes to the wind. I'm out there on my phone talking to myself, like running up to people, sticking there,
So I was just actually lamenting the fact that we don't have samples at this market.
That's a shame.
It's a shame for you guys especially.
Well, you can sample the hand sanitizer.
Oh!
That's you're allowed to sample.
I mean, they say that if it rains on your wedding day, it's good luck. So I don't really know what raining on the first day of farmers market means, aside from probably like an awesome year of produce and other good stuff. So it was great to see the vendors. I think they are really thrilled that they got the green light to go ahead on this. Some people I spoke with have really just been relying on online sales if they can even get their products out that way. So this is huge for them. And they're hoping that as long as everyone abides by the new rules, that they can continue. But it is a different farmer's market than we're used to, right? Like we're used to going out there, petting dogs, booths are lined up together next to each other, and it's not like that at all. So it is very different.
Did you feel like this is something we shouldn't be doing and they were pushing it, or did it feel like they were doing the right thing?
No, I feel like they were doing the right thing because if you think about it, grocery stores are open. I mean, they're really being strict and careful about how they're going about things. I know like at Price Chopper and other markets, like aisles are one way only and people are like getting lost in the store. But I feel like a farmer's market's no different. You maybe almost feel safer because you're outside, all this open space. You're not really touching shopping carts or products. And the people selling you the products are pretty much the only people that have ever touched it ever. So it hasn't gone through as many hands or shipping containers or boxes. So, I mean, I don't know all the rules on, how long the virus lives on certain surfaces, but just thinking about that in general, like, I feel like it is safer. So I do think you definitely have to give vendors their space. Everyone was very mindful of that. And a lot of people were just making it really quick. I'm sure the weather played a little bit into that, but you could tell people wanted to get their products and then just get the heck out. Yeah. So I'd like to go back on a sunny day.
Yeah, it's more like a mission than it is like a social thing, which I think, that's for someone like me, that's going to be the adjustment because even the Troy Farmers Market, which is one of the best, to me, that was always a social experience. I would buy a couple things, maybe my breakfast, maybe a coffee, a little bit of produce, but I didn't go there to do grocery shopping. It was really more about texting Jack, hey, are you and Sam and Troy? What's going on? And meeting up. So I think that's going to be the biggest adjustment. I actually took a sporadic road trip to Ithaca this weekend, which has my favorite farmer's market besides Troy. And I saw they were open only till 1. So I missed it. I didn't get there in time. But there's this huge, it's under like a roof. So I was kind of wondering, like, I think it might naturally be more spaced out, but I would have liked to have seen it. Read a little bit about Troy this morning, is doing like a pickup online version of this. So it's important, and it's getting these farmers back into the scope of work that we're used to seeing them in, which is really cool.
I think it's certainly a sign of the times that things are hopefully heading in the right direction. And Cuomo feels that way. He announced today that possibly some of New York could be going back to work on the 15th. He said that some regions will be allowed to begin reopening when his order shutting down businesses and schools expires on May 15th. So that'll be the absolute earliest. But the protocols for how to do that are still being worked out. So basically there's no answers. And I just got to say one thing. I have my Visi. I have my Times Union. I am in no rush to go back to normal. I'm chilling. So I hope they take their time and do things right so it doesn't bounce back and hit us in the face. But Jordan, I know you've been cooped up. I haven't seen anything of you. We've all been like doing something here and there. You have been like in jail. What's going on over there?
As you see, I have resorted back to my animalistic nature, and I'm just letting things go. I've been outside a lot, building, relearning how to hunt, just doing what I can, doing what I was a little mad that I saw when you went to the farmer's market. I was like, damn, I could have gave her some money to pick me up some of that hand sanitizer. But
oh, I know, right?
But that's something, got to have on the list. But yeah, I mean, I am ready to get back. I just need a hug, from someone other than my family,
Virtual hug.
You're a good hugger, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean.
He's not going to brag.
No, he is.
I had my first hug the other day, and it wasn't supposed to happen, and it felt terrible. We threw a social distance parade for my grandma in Albany, and everyone drove by, and they had signs, and one of my aunts got out of the car, and she came up, we were kind of talking, and she was like, we can hug, right? And like went for it. And I didn't have time to be like, no, I just came from an anti-lockdown rally. You probably shouldn't touch me. And then boom.
Oh God.
So it felt weird to make that connection now after a month.
It's crazy.
Maybe just more the paranoia that was on crawling on your skin still.
Well, speaking about being paranoid, we got a Clifton Park native, one of Taylor and mine owns. Taylor and me own. Our own. One of our own.
Can I just interrupt one thing before? I noticed one of Jack's new things. I like to get on Jack about his things. His new thing is he keeps saying everything is a sign of the times. Every single time. If Jack says it's a sign of the times one more time, I am going to need him to deliver the rest of his Visi to my apartment as payment for as many times as he says it's a sign of the times. Another cliche. I'm not a big cliche girl, but anyways, proceed.
All
it's like a swear jar.
Or respond.
Yeah, I'm like, you ain't gonna just not let that slide. Like,
you can't act like I've just been saying a sign of the times from the time we met. Everything that happens now is a sign of the times. Katie going to the farmer's market where everything is spread out 10 feet apart and only one person can talk to another. Sign of the times. It's a cliche, but it's correct.
No, it's your world.
This is also a sign of the times. Our next story. Clifton Park native Justin Rohrwasser, who went to Shen, where Taylor and I went, but then he transferred. We're not going to hold that against him. We'll just keep that in mind. He has been picked for the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots as a kicker. All as well as good. He was picked 5th round. He wasn't like sure he was getting in, but he did. And obviously the Patriots are a great team to go to. But it's pretty obvious that the wind is being taken from his sail. That's the quote. That's the other cliche. Because he has a few tattoos on his arm that are being brought to attention. One of which is for the 3 percenters. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Have you guys heard about that before this?
I hadn't before reading the article and doing my research. No.
All right. So for those who don't know, the Three Percenters was a group formed in 2008 to help create support for the belief that Obama was coming for Americans' guns. By 2017, they had over 10,000 members across America, and they describe themselves as a heavily armed Second Amendment supporter who believe their right to firearms is under attack. So that started in 2008. He said he got them when he was a teenager, so it was probably a little after that. A few incidents then that are notable since in 2015, they were responsible for protesting refugee resettlement of Muslims in Idaho. They were a big part of the Charlottesville rally, which we all know about in 2017. And in 2018, a police officer in North Carolina was pushed to resign for having the exact same tattoo. It's a lot to take in. So I'm going to pass this one to Jordan. How do you feel about it?
Nah, like when I was playing football in Japan, you couldn't even have any of your tattoos showing. Like I have all Bible verses and mountains and trees and roses, and they're like, no, you have to cover that up. So I had to wear arm sleeves, everything. I know guys who have plenty of tattoos, some crazy, some not, but that is like, come on. And he was like, well, I don't really stand by it. It was something I did when I was young. I didn't really understand, You can go get that changed. Maybe not now. Just, put a little patch over it. But before he knew, and he definitely could have got that changed. So I don't.
Taylor?
Yeah.
Yikes. I mean, shout out to the Times Union for a more thorough recap of what the tattoo means, what the group means. He passed it off in the article, like Jordan said, like, I have a lot of family members in the military. But then when you look into the history of what the Three Percenters mean, I mean, if you had a history of family in the military, you could very easily get a more Army, National Guard, Air Force, Marines based tattoo. He did acknowledge that maybe it was wrong and that he could work to get it covered up and that he should do more research when he puts something permanent on his body in a very visible spot. So I'm glad that this young man is learning some lessons. I don't know if Jordan would know more. I mean, is that a reason not to draft somebody? How much of a character intake do they get to kind of look into what this person's all about? He's young, he's stupid, people make mistakes, but I will accept no mistakes, whether it's an anchor tattoo, a live, laugh, love tattoo, a YOLO tattoo. They're all in some way a bad decision, and you should really just look into it, especially when it comes to like a symbol or something that could mean the wrong thing. You just don't want to mess that up. He's not even drinking age probably. He wasn't drunk when he got it.
Katie?
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with the squad here. I actually read an article that described this group, the Three Percenters, as the Y'all-Qaeda, as in maybe y'all a reference to Southern, I don't want to say rednecks, but, it's kind of like has those connotations, like a terrorist group, a Y'all-Qaeda, and also two words for the New England Patriots, Aaron Hernandez. Okay, I'm not saying all tattooed people have, will follow the same pattern or self-fulfilling prophecy, but I mean, they haven't really been the best judges of character, we'll say, in their draftees. So yeah, I think it's a weak excuse. I do hope he gets it removed because while, I don't really care if my football players have tats like that as much as maybe my political or policy leaders, still at the end of the day, it's a testament to his character. It's not cool, dude. And you're from upstate and you're better than that. So
I'm not buying the fact that he didn't know what this is only because his arm is riddled in other similar tattoos such as liberty or death, don't tread on me. And
right.
I have not confirmed this, but the top arm almost looks like an Illuminati symbol. Just like, I don't think that one is out of place. So he probably should have, I mean, if he was going to cover it up, he should have. It's like when you get picked for SNL, you should delete your old tweets before someone goes through them. If you're going to the NFL, take off the very racist thing on your arm when you're entering a league of, I think, about 70% African Americans.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to change it. And I don't know if they can enforce it. I mean, are they going to check everyone's tattoos in the NFL? Where do you go from here?
I mean, they do have some sort of standard when it comes to that. Like if he was legit denying and saying that he wasn't going to change things, then they might cause some sort of like a fine. NFL
Right.
will find any way to fine whatever. But yeah, there's not many teams who do care. You have guys who have crazy assault cases and drinking and driving cases, but if they play, they're looking the other way.
Mhm.
So if it doesn't cross a point of being like racist or like aggravated assault or no, they even pass on that. So I don't even know what I'm saying.
It's
But the point is
crazy.
like they might fine, but it wouldn't stop him from playing.
Yeah. Well, overall, I feel bad that this is what's taken over his limelight of this big moment. I'm sure he's worked very hard to get here, and I hope things work. What's very ironic about it, this just popped in. What's very ironic, I was reading about this, and the 3%ers began back in the Civil War, one of the wars, don't quote me, and it was about people who had more than 20 guns to protect themselves, and they called themselves the Patriots, the 3%ers.
Whoa.
And now
Oh, wow.
here he is bringing that full circle, and this will
Full
probably
circle.
be the ending of that group. So full circle. Let's bring it back upstate, though. We got something lurking in Schenectady. There's been a lot of reports this weekend of an alligator spotting at, what's the park? We got our resident Schenectadian here.
Yeah, my Schenectadian. Steinmetz Park. Steinmetz, named after a scientist. But yeah, it was just a few years ago where I remember the Mayor McCarthy had a small bounty for people to fish out some unusual fish out of the Central Park pond. So
Yes.
we may be onto something, and I will get my Steve Irwin on and go down there and scope it out for the squad and our viewers if that's what we want to do here.
I think we certainly have to send you the Goose Hill Neighborhood Association president. That's quite the title. Camille Sazanowski said Monday that over the weekend, many people were calling in saying they saw a reptile that looked like an alligator. So, I mean, I got a lot of thought about that, especially the fact that they don't survive in New York temperaments.
Right.
But that brought me to the 2016 incident where they found an alligator gar, which is a horrifying looking alligator fish hybrid. And it was legitimately in one of those ponds. But
it was in another city pond, yeah.
I wouldn't mistake it with, it has a very similar mouth. It's long and it has the teeth, but much smaller. But you wouldn't mistake it for an alligator. It still looks like a fish. And I mean, I think people might have seen an alligator. So, Taylor, how are you feeling about this?
Look at her.
Confused? I mean, here's the thing with like rare animals. Like, I definitely want to see them all. I go to Florida a lot to see my sister, and she doesn't really live in like alligator, crocodile territory, but I drove out to a different part of Florida over the summer, and like I was like on pins and needles, like looking for an alligator. So you definitely want to see one. And I think, as we know, with anything, Bigfoot, alligators, bears, tigers, whatever, every dad wants to see a deer in his backyard. That's just how it is. So people might be getting a little crazy. Quarantine might be getting to them. And there's a potential hallucination, exaggeration factor that might be involved here. However, is it impossible? No. A lot of weird shit happens in Schenectady. A lot of crazy stuff happens upstate. However, if I saw this, I just don't know what I would do. Like, I want to see a bear in a tree. That's one of my things. Like, I'd love to see a bear because I've seen deer and obviously all that kind of stuff. To see a bear upstate would be wild. And now you actually read and have been seeing on the news, my mom was saying, like, with this like quarantine isolation, like there's been goats that are just like running around like Washington, D.C. or like whatever big city. Animals are coming out of hiding in a big way in metropolitan areas. However, did an alligator migrate up the East Coast from Boca Raton to Schenectady, New York? To be determined.
I think it's just playing into that meme we're seeing everywhere. The whole nature is healing. We were the virus the whole time.
Right.
We got deer running around Troy. We got alpaca running around New Paltz. And now we got an alligator in Schenectady. And here's the thing. I have never told anyone this story. But when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I was up on the Hudson River where I have a camp near Corinth. And I was kayaking with my buddy Doug. I haven't talked to him like since this incident, but I can call him up and we can talk
Who's
about
Doug?
it if you want proof. Some guy who lives up there. And we were kayaking and we went into like the Marsh area off the Hudson, and I saw an alligator. I didn't see the head.
Jordan.
I saw like the middle of the body, and it was like 6 feet long. And I saw the scales, and it like I didn't see the head. I just saw it moving. So it was either like a big ass snake or probably an alligator. And I went back and I told my parents, and they laughed at me. And I've just lived with this like horrid memory because like I paddled as quickly as I could away from it. And I've lived with that until now. I think that's probably the alligator that I saw.
Made its way down here. I bet it is. It's got to be. Maybe the exotic animal keeper who was holding it up in Luzerne.
Yep.
Dumped it down here recently. He was like, I don't want anything to do. Coronavirus. I'm getting out of town.
Yep.
Dumping it in Schenectady. No, that Jack Carpenter kid saw me a few years ago up in Luzerne. I can't dump it there. Little does he know. It's
legitimately baffled my brain ever since it happened. I forgot about it until this story popped up. And, really makes you think. Jordan, how do you feel?
Well, two things. So your story definitely started off a little weird. Like, you were like, I haven't told anybody this. There was a time me and my friend were kayaking. I haven't spoken to him since. We went into the swamp in the marsh. I was like, bro, did he touch you? Like, what? Like, I did not know where this was going. You're like, I saw an alligator. I was like, oh gosh, thank God. Like, I didn't know what you were about to say. But sorry to blow it all up, but my father, he works for the Department of Environmental Conservation.
Oh.
He get calls all the times. Animals in the backyards and bears here, this and that. He does all that. Their department already went and checked it out, and it's just an oversized snapping turtle.
No.
Our snapping turtles, they do have the same thing. Their tails and the bridge, like the middle of their shells, the bridge, it's jagged too. So it looks like the back of an alligator or something. And their heads, and I'm telling you, like, even when I was a kid and I was fishing, Jack, same thing. Like, I was traumatized when I saw a snapping turtle for the first time because this wasn't no baby. It wasn't even a regular adult. This was like Kimbo Slice of all snapping turtles. His head was like this big and just Debo staring at me in the water. And I was like, that's a snapping turtle? It's huge. Like, they can get pretty big. But so, I mean, who knows? Still could
wonder
be.
how old it
I was
is.
just chilling and nobody has, seen it. But I was told that they already went to investigate and just saw a snapping turtle.
Well, thanks for ruining our parade, Jordan.
I know, really, Jordan.
That's why I went last.
Katie out there,
And I was like, nah, let me let him talk.
Oh my God.
I'm ready to get some footage. Yeah, I know.
But again, hey, if an 8-foot alligator does come out,
don't say you didn't warn us because you didn't.
Because I mean, my dad told me like he has actually in Rensselaer County has confiscated an alligator up to 7 feet long from people who have them as pets. So
yeah,
it's a game changer, Jordan.
So you never know.
I don't know. I'm just concerned that there was a Doug in Jack's life that I didn't know about. I feel like I know pretty much everything about Jack. I've heard almost every story Jack has. So I couldn't really pay attention because I was like, wait, who's this Doug? What was the situation? I know the names of all his family members. We're friends on Facebook. I'm going to be asking questions about Doug when we wrap this up. That's all.
We're just going to seal this under the file of the Adirondack Marsh mystery, and we'll never know the answer.
Wait, was Doug like an old man? He wasn't a peer, right? He wasn't like...
I don't want to talk about this rough time in my life, okay? I just found out it's a snapping turtle after the... Jesus. I feel so dumb.
More on Doug later.
That was always my fun fact. And like icebreakers, I'd be like, I saw an alligator once.
Is it still an amphibian?
No,
Are they in the same family? Ask your dad, Jordan. Mr. DEC.
Good.
Right.
He's like the environmental enforcer.
Mm-hmm. Captain Planet. Well,
yeah.
Anything else from the squad?
I don't know. I'm excited to get to work on my Stewart's mask. I'm in on this, you guys.
Katie's in on it. We official final date, And if Jimmy doesn't agree to this one, he's
Yeah,
out.
this is it. We're
Final
dragging
date,
this on.
Thursday, April 30th. It's going to be our
30th.
presentation to our president, Gary Dake, of the best Storage Flash 2 Buttons Deep collab mask. The winner will get to donate $500 to their favorite local charity, and I'm probably going to win because I have a great idea. So Taylor says she's out of this league.
You know what, though?
What did you say?
I said I am on a completely different level conceptually than everyone else. I will say I'm a little disappointed that it's been dragged out. I feel like people are losing interest. Masks are just the norm now. So I don't want to be negative Nancy, but we did lose our window. We lost our captive audience on this challenge. And that's not an excuse, but now I feel like the confidence I had in the beginning when this all started, I don't know. I know I'm going to put it on the record right now, though, while I have a platform. I know what you guys are going to say when you see my mask. I know you're not the one judging it. I know Gary is. But I know, especially if Sam were on this call, I already know what his defense is, what his comeback is, and I want to let you know that I've considered it. I'm hearing your feedback before I get it.
Ooh.
Okay.
Those are some fighting words.
I know what they're gonna say. I know it's gonna say.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna stand for it, Taylor. Okay.
Yeah, but what if?
And listen, you won't necessarily be wrong, but again, I'm avant-garde. This is an avant-garde mask challenge, and I'm incorporating many of the 5 senses. Okay.
What does avant-garde mean?
Avant-garde is a fashion term that means like unwearable, out of this world fashion that takes like a much bigger concept. Like you could be a designer and say like this look was inspired by like the constellations, like all the planets.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what's the word again?
Avant-garde. So the Met, have you ever seen the Met Gala?
Yeah.
No.
So when
Okay.
they dress up as lampshades and
Kanye had
fire
the people dressing up in garbage stuff.
Yeah, like the meat dress, lady
Zoolander.
right. dress.
Very
That's
avant-garde.
Yeah, so it's a broad term for something that is like out of this world and like a juxtaposition.
Larger than life.
Yeah.
So are you saying your mask is Met Gala worthy?
My first bango.
It is.
Taylor's going to be head to toe in masks, I'm thinking.
It's avant-garde for the challenge, and I took Stuart's into much consideration in our relationship with Gary, and I'm saying too much, so I'm going to.
All right.
Okay.
That's it. We'll
Okay.
see. And just remember, it has to be wearable. Doesn't have to be practical, just wearable.
Yes, absolutely.
Heard that.
Hey, guys, this is great. Shout out to the Times Union. Support local journalism. Go read your paper, watch your paper, listen to your paper. Just do it all from your phone. They are the reason why we do this. They are the reason why everybody's conformed. What's the word? I need to read more. I forgot the word.
Avant-garde.
Informed. Make sure everybody's informed about the coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
And everyone sees Katie on the front cover.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. I get a
Subscribe
digital
digitally
copy.
and see all
All
that.
right. That's a show. Goodbye.
Bye.